Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you here today. My name is Ryan. I serve as the Dungeon Master. I'm actually, Chris, I'm wearing my Dungeon Daddy shirt
Yes.
today. Actually, I have several channels. I'd recorded a whiskey video today, and I have a shirt. I'm talking very seriously about serious whiskey topics, and I have a shirt that says Dungeon Daddy. So I'm just waiting for the comments to roll in like, yo, what the heck, man? But anyway, I serve as the Dungeon Master for our group. We're kicking off a brand new campaign. Very excited about it. It's going to be called it is called The Tales of Alashar. This is session 0, where we sit down. It's sort of like a meeting in advance before session 1, where we actually get into the campaign. And this is where we kind of tee everything up. We introduce the world. We introduce the characters. We lay the ground rules for how we're going to be playing and stuff like that. So happy to have you along for the ride. If this is your first session 0, just setting some expectations. We're not actually going to be doing any combat today per se. We might do a little bit of like some role-playing stuff, but in terms of like actually having a D&D proper session, that's next time. So we're looking forward to diving into the meat of it all. But today we're just going to be
ready to fight.
Yeah. Well, and you might, who knows? So let me first introduce you to our players. There's three players in our party. They are our good friends, Stephanie, Cale, and Chris. Stephanie is actually my wife. So last time I introduced her as a good friend, I got some flack right off the rip.
I was just about to say, I feel like I've been demoted. This is my friend.
Well, and to be fair,
I vote his children.
I will probably. There's a pretty good chance I might be demoted from husband to friend, anyways, serving as a DM. But the number of times I'm going to have people attacking you, so
I bore your children. What does it take to get out of the friend zone?
Out of the friend zone.
Just wondering.
Well, I don't want to get into that here.
Oh my.
So yeah, that's Steph. We have Cale as well.
Hello.
Cale's just some random guy
Cale.
we found on the street one time.
me, Cale, me friend, and Chris as well as our third.
Hello, everyone.
So we know each other
in no particular order.
And it wasn't like an order of favorites. I just led with Steph
because third wheel or something.
Ladies first.
Jeez.
But
Steph should be your favorite, to be fair.
To be fair, she should be. You're right. She should. I should work on that.
I was gonna say sometimes it doesn't feel that way. I'm gonna be really honest.
Actually, at dinner tonight, Steph posed the question. She said, if you were stuck on a deserted island, what's the one friend you would choose to be like a survivalist with you?
And I said I wouldn't be offended if it wasn't me.
We both picked Chris because he's like goes to dude ranches and stuff. And
we're like, yes.
Mr. Outdoorsy mountain man over here.
To be fair, Cale, then we changed the scenario to a haunted house, and we both picked you
and
for that. Because
Cale.
Sometimes Chris just like freaks out about random things. Like if it was a demon, you're out of there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
You can't be
he's out the door.
Yeah, he's just gone. So Cale's pretty even keel.
That was the argument we made. We're like, he will go in there with you, and you know that if you're staying in, he's staying in with you. Loyalty, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
So anyways,
that's our dinner conversations.
Yeah, that's our group. We've been friends for about 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Long
time.
In those 15 years, we basically have gamed together, unless it's like an off week where someone's out of town. We basically game together like 3 or 4 nights a week for 15 years.
And we talk almost every day. That's pretty rare we miss a day.
True.
Chris, your wife once said we have our own language.
That's true.
I think that's kind of true. A lot of it is memes that we speak in.
Some of my other friends have complained that I speak in GIF format too much. I'm like, that's how I talk to my wife. Like we have entire conversations that are just GIFs back and forth, and we know what they mean.
Do other people not do this?
This is not normal. You guys are still using the English language?
What?
Imagine.
What? Imagine.
It's 2025. It's current year.
Come on.
So let me give you a quick pitch here for session 0. If you're not familiar with the world we're going to be playing in, that's because I made it up. It's all brand new. And I have a couple of YouTube videos on this channel, the Vanguard D&D channel, that give the sort of background lore to Alashar, which is the continent, the island nation that we are going to be, exploring in this campaign. It also tees up the city of Calavos, specifically where we're going to be spending most of the first campaign. So if you're interested in learning more about that world in advance, and you're a lore junkie, we've got tons of lore, maps. I thought everything up and dreamed about the cities and the cultures and how they operate. And then my wife did the cartography. So Steph handled like the map making for both the continent itself and the city that we're going to be in. And I'll probably have some of those up in the edited version of Session 0. So if you're listening to the podcast format, obviously you won't have the visual aids. But if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see those things on screen probably right now while I'm running my stupid fat mouth. And just to kind of give you some background about the philosophy, like the approach for this campaign we're going to be running, is the idea is we wanted it to be very, very approachable, okay? So we wanted it to be something where if you've never played D&D before, maybe you've never even listened to a D&D podcast before, you would be able to follow this. We're going to start at level 1 with our characters. So we're not going to be kicking things off with super beefed up characters that have 30 different spells to choose from, and we're tossing out all these names of spells you've never heard. You don't have a clue what these do. So we're going to start from square one, and we're just going to level up consistently throughout the campaign so that we'll start to compound things as we go. So it starts simple, and you'll be able to follow the progression pretty easily. And the scale of our first campaign won't be saving the world, right? We're starting as little level 1 adventurers. So we're going to start small and kind of help fix local scenarios. And then as our characters level up and progress, then we're going to start taking on some more grander scale things progressively as we work through the campaigns. So that's the whole idea and the approach that we're going to take.
Yeah.
Don't have a ton of experience yet, though, so we're still.
And one of those was with children, so.
Yeah, but that's great.
I had a lot of fun.
And Steph can attest, I've even like practiced my like DMing on the kids. Like, I don't know if you guys have kids, but they don't eat quickly. They eat very slowly. So
ours do, at least.
A lot of times, like, Steph and I will be done with dinner 30 minutes before our children. So I'm standing in the kitchen washing dishes, and I'll just start talking through a scenario, and I'm like, you're a ranger, you're a warlock, here are the things you can do, here's the scenario you're in. And I'll just have the kids, while they're finishing up dinner for 30 minutes, just start making decisions, and it's just kind of a fun way to do things. So I think that D&D can be fun and approachable for children. Our kids really enjoy their time with it when we did proper one-off campaigns with them, right?
It's probably also why it takes them an extra 30 minutes, because they're talking through a campaign with you rather than eating their food.
Unrelated, erroneous on all accounts. We also in Session 0, we have to lay the ground rules. So we'll be playing per the 5th edition handbook rules. We will do some house rules that are just for the sake of, having better quality of life stuff. So I'll let you guys know this in advance. So when it comes to like provisions, when you're eating food, how much food you're eating, where you're sleeping, lodging, all this stuff. When it comes to the nitty gritty stuff that I just don't think is fun to listen to, like it's not real. I don't think it's fun when I'm listening to D&D podcasts. I like the story, the narration, the progression, the encounters. I don't want to sit down and listen for 20 minutes to people talking about how many grams of food they're ingesting and how much they're setting aside. I think all that stuff kind of detracts from, especially if we're starting simple, I think it detracts from some of the fun of a good, vibrant campaign that other people are going to be witnessing alongside us. So I will take care of some of the quality of life stuff. We will be doing like short rests, long rests, all that stuff, and I will just kind of wrap all that into it. Your main quest giver will be taking care of your basic lodging as well, so you don't have to worry about that. Although later on, when we do future campaigns, we can explore, D&D actually has a new system per 2024 for like having a base that you can expand on and be in, and that's kind of a cool thing. That's a feature we might explore down the road. When it comes to experience and how we're going to be leveling up, instead of tracking everything that you kill and every combatant you defeat and every conversation you have and every skill check, sorry, I was spacing on it, every skill check you do, instead of tracking all the XP you gain from all those individual things, I'm just going to have specific milestones laid down for you throughout the campaign that will sort of time with the ending of some of our sessions. We'll be like, congratulations, you've now leveled up to level 2, so when we come to do our next session, make sure that you've leveled up your character so we can hit the ground running with your level 2 characters. So we'll do a milestone system, so we all level up at specific intervals together, and it'll make it a lot easier for me to also balance the encounters as well for you. Sound good?
Neat. Yes.
Sounds great.
And last but not least, when it comes to rules, I do need to throw this out there. Permadeath is a thing, right? It is an option. So you could, in theory, have your character that you've created die permanently in our campaign. Okay? Let me talk about why. It's not to be mean, it's not to punish, But the goal here, I don't anticipate that you are going to die, but I need it to be a possibility because it enhances roleplay. Because if the threat of death doesn't exist, then you will do ridiculous things like I'm going to jump off of this tower and free fall 50 feet. You know what I mean? I need to keep you grounded. It'll also help you. You go into a scenario where maybe you are at low ground. Now you're surrounded by a group of bandits who've cornered you and are trying to get information out of you or shake you down, and you're 3 against 15. I don't want you guys to be like, we can take them, and then all of you die. I would rather you know that the threat of death is real, and you're forced to make a challenging decision in that moment where you're like, okay, well, how would my character handle this scenario? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, but I will warn you, my character is, in terms of morality, chaotic neutral, which you know. If you kill me, I'm coming back with a new character who's just full evil chaos.
Yeah.
And that is the threat for you, my friend. Because you know I will follow through with that.
Well, you're the one that has to play that character. And if you make that character work, that's great. And that is another, part of permadeath is that you're not kicked out of the campaign at that point, obviously. You will then create a new character in the context of the narrative that sort of will work together to kind of come up with an idea for how that character can then come in. You could even take over an NPC that I've created and say, I'm going to start playing as them. And we could talk about that as an option too. So
I can make it work.
If that
Trust
happens.
me. Trust me, I will be so petty.
I know this about you.
I get very attached to my characters.
Don't worry, I'm sure my character will dive in front of whatever's going to kill you.
So sweet of you.
She's like, yes, I expect this fully.
I do expect that. Thank you.
Let's talk about Alashar real quick. So Alashar is the island continent nation that we're going to be doing this whole series of campaigns on. Just a little bit about the island itself. So there was an event that was, like 650 years ago, where suddenly, out of the blue, this thing called the curtain, this natural phenomenon, or maybe supernatural phenomenon, rather. No one really knows the origin of it at this point, but this thing called the curtain just sort of bubbled and fell into existence from the sky and now rests over the seas surrounding Alashar. It is this dark cloud that's just sort of like bubbling with magical arcane energy. You can see sort of like this dark blue current kind of moving through it, and it's very ominous, and it's sort of locked down the continent. They no longer have access to other island nations and continents that they had done trade with, so it shut down all the the coastal ports. No ships can sail around Alashar anymore. It's too dangerous. It hugs the coast so tightly. It's only about just under half a mile off of the coast, and it affects things like nothing comes through it, not even waves. So there are no more waves that lap up on the shores of Alashar either. It's all just perfectly calm and still because none of that ocean activity penetrates through the curtain. And so that's sort of the land that they are in. It is isolated. It's dubbed the land of isolation because of that. And so all of these separate nations and kingdoms and people groups and culture groups had to find a way to self-govern under the new conditions of Alashar. So there's a central city called Penanthro, where there's a council of kingdoms, where each kingdom or nation or people group sends representatives to sit on the council to help govern this continent. If you want to learn more about the various cities and people groups, that's all out there on our video, the Lore of Alashar video. You can explore that more. So we won't spend any more time on that. Let's get right into your characters. I want to learn about you guys.
Can I say a theory I have about this curtain thing? Because I already have theories. Can I share a theory? And
you may.
You don't have to.
I won't tell you if you're right or wrong. But
no. So my theory is there's wizards on Alashar, right? Like obviously. I have a feeling that there is a wizard on Alashar dating some hot chick on another island. Things got weird and he ghosted her. And what's the best way to ghost somebody? Build a giant curtain around your island.
Yes, logical.
Nothing can, right? You don't have to say that I'm close, but you can hint that I'm close,
I have serious questions about the men you dated before me. If you think that that's a possibility. How petty were they?
I didn't date a lot of wizards, I'll tell you that.
On that note, let's chat about your characters. So let's dive into them. We'll go right down the list, just the same order we introduce you. So we'll go Steph, Cale, Chris. Sound good?
Yeah,
Kick us off, Steph. Tell us about who you're going to be playing in the campaign and what their backstory is, basically.
Yeah, so my character's name is Thera Venrel. She is a high elf from Havendel.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say she is a hottie.
She is, well, she is also that, let's be honest. No, so she's going to be a female elf sorcerer. Like I said, she's a high elf from the city of Havendel. She was born into nobility. Her dad's a top advisor to the king of Havendel, which I don't know his name.
The king?
I don't know.
Sedival.
Yeah. Sedival.
King
that
Sedival.
Kind of sounds like a pharmacy prescription. Ask your doctor if Sedival is right for you.
Sedival-Rizzi is right for you.
Yeah, Rizzy. Oh gosh, you're gonna have to.
I didn't want to. That's why I didn't say the name of it.
Crap! Sorry, I'm failing so bad.
YouTube
anyway,
noob over here.
I'm sorry. I have to learn this. Cut. We'll do it live. Okay. So anyway, her dad. She's born into nobility. Her dad is a top advisor to the king. So she grew up in the courts among the wealthy and powerful. She's been around politics a lot. She could definitely blend into those high crowds, but she it finds that life kind of stifling or restraining, kind of boring for her.
Yeah.
She's like I said, I'm playing her chaotic neutral, or trying my best to play her chaotic neutral. So I wouldn't imagine that would be something that's very interesting to her. She inherited magical abilities from her mom and studied under her mom's childhood mentor to help really grow and hone those powers. But in turn, she would often use those powers to play pranks on her young peers in the upper circles because she found them kind of, I don't know, haughty. Is that the word? Is that the right word? Like, yeah, pretentious.
They're hotties too. Everyone's a hottie.
Not that kind of hottie. Maybe. I don't know. They're elves. Elves are good looking. Anyway, so the king felt threatened by Thera's growing powers, and he saw magic as a threat to his claim to the throne. So, unknown to her father or her family, he kind of summoned her in secret and gave Thera an ultimatum. You can leave Havendel on your own, just get up and leave. Don't say anything about it. Or the king was his plan was to ruin the reputations of her parents, strip them of their nobility, and basically drive them out of the kingdom. So Thera is, if anything, her one, North Star in her life is her family. She cares more about them than anything. She's fiercely devoted to them. So she agreed to this deal. I will leave. She's looking for excitement outside of the kingdom and the royal courts anyway. So she chose to leave Havendel behind to kind of forge her own path and learn more about her, own powers and how she can grow them.
Dope.
And who knows, maybe someday she will take over Havendel just for kicks and giggles.
Just for the fun of it,
Just for the heck of it. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's her. So yeah, she's a sorceress. She's awesome. She's a badass.
She's awesome. Slip that in there, just in case you didn't pick up on it.
She is a hottie. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right, we'll be the judge of that.
Let the internets decide.
We'll see how the dudes react.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of dudes, Cale, I think that takes us to you. Well, do you guys have any questions for her? You'll grill her about her character before we move on.
Favorite color?
Oh, your like morality. Your.
Yeah, I mentioned that she's chaotic neutral. I think chaotic neutral meaning she's impulsive, and she doesn't really have the moral compass of this is right, this is wrong, and I'm going to go towards something that's right or wrong. I think in Thera's world, she has seen bad guys do good things and good guys do bad things. And so she doesn't really see certain people as good or bad, or I don't know, she's kind of detached from all that, I would say. So she might take some convincing to do things for the good of things just because they're
So you might be like better off forging a bond with her than actually convincing her that your thing is the right thing to do. Maybe she would go along with it more if she just feels a connection with the person.
Maybe. like I said, she's really fiercely devoted to her family. That's her like one strong bond in life, is that despite the fact that nobility life wasn't really for her, she does very much love her family, which is why she chose to just leave. And they don't know why she left, by the way. I like to think that her mom probably knows why, but dad may have no clue.
Yeah.
Because her mom was, like I said, her mom was magical as well. Her mom, I had this kind of in her
Magically
background.
inclined.
Yeah, her mom was, when she was young, was a lot like Thera, was kind of craving life outside of nobility. But then as she grew older, she kind of settled that. And whereas Thera just wanted to sow her wild oats, kind of so to speak. So she didn't want to, settle down and live in a cushy life. She wanted adventure and excitement, and I think that's probably where some of her chaos comes from.
Okay.
Why save the kingdom when you can burn it down? So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Cale, tell us about your character.
All right. So my character, his name is Celvor. He is a human elf ranger, so he's half human, half wood elf. And Celvor, he grew up in the serene enclave of the Elder Glen Grove, which is a small woodland grove in the southwest part of the Arbellum Forest, kind of down in the southeast of Alashar.
Southwest? Of Alashar. Okay, yeah.
Yes, it's sort of the southeast of Alashar is where the forest lies, but
Right.
he grew up in the southwest part of that forest. Then.
Copy.
So he grew up in this enclave called Elder Glen Grove, which was revered for its abundant apiaries and honey and sort of local produce and things like that. Largely cut off from the outside world. They did sort of trade with some merchants as they traveled through the forest and on some nearby roads, things like that. But they largely were people who kept to themselves. So there was a human ranger who was out hunting in the forest and kind of got turned around and lost his way, who stumbled upon the grove and was taken in by them and given supplies and food and shelter. That turns out is Celvor's father.
Cute.
So, yes, indeed. So he sort of fell in with the elves and kind of decided to leave, the stresses of human life behind and joined the Enclave.
Oh my gosh, he's basically Aragorn.
No, it's like, my thought was, you ever see the movie The Last Samurai?
I haven't actually seen that one.
He's basically Aragorn.
He's Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai.
He's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he gets taken in by the samurai village, and he's a white dude, but he grows up.
That's the story of
Samurai.
Aragorn too, right? Like he was raised in the House of Elrond. Sorry, I'm showing my nerds. I have, yeah. Okay, continue. Sorry. Go
anyway,
ahead.
Yes. So,
yes.
As the son of this human ranger and an elven herbalist, he inherited sort of a unique heritage that makes him kind of both an outsider amongst humans, but also a little bit, shall we say, rustic for the high elf society, and a little bit of an outsider to the elves as well, just having that mixed parentage.
Sure.
So most of his childhood was spent sort of weaving his way through the woodlands, between the twinkling streams and the flowered glades.
But just prancing through the.
Kind of he just like running through the forest and kind of spent time to himself and just appreciating the beauty of nature.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the beauty of nature that fascinated him. It was sort of the intricate dance of the bees around their hives and how all these different pieces of nature moved, and what he saw as order in chaos. So it seems like this just stream of chaos, but when you really look closer, there's a system, there's an order that makes it all work and thrive.
Okay.
And that sort of instilled him with this profound appreciation for teamwork and his community and for loyalty to those that were close to him. He's been blessed with keen senses from his elven lineage, but also curiosity and resilience that's more characteristic of humans. He often roamed around the forests, even beyond the Elderglen's borders, where he, learned a lot of survival skills, sort of taught himself how to hunt and take care of himself out in the wilds. And he really got an appreciation for the importance of the balance of nature.
Sure.
So
he's a hippie.
you could say that.
You could say that.
Did he attend Woodstock, perchance?
But however,
Woodland stock.
Woodstock. There you go. Precisely. So fast forward to the present day. Tragedy unfortunately struck when a group of bandits and mercenaries, mostly humans, but a sort of a mixed race band of different races that were all sort of rallied under this terrifying flag, invaded the Elder Glen Grove to seize control over its resources and the apiaries, and sort of took anything of value and destroyed the rest, kind of burned it to the ground. In the ensuing chaos, it seems that his parents have fallen victim to these invaders' greed while they were trying to protect their cherished home. And so he sort of coming to amongst the charred, smoldering remains of the grove sometime, presumably the following day. He looks around, he doesn't see any of the survivors, and he's just overwhelmed with grief. But this grief ignites in him this determination to track down the people that destroy life for profit and that are callous enough to, disrupt and upset the delicate balance of nature. So having trained as sort of a ranger and a hunter, he leaves the forest with his trusty bow and his dagger, and he leaves in the hopes of sort of restoring in his mind nature's balance by exacting a revenge upon those who wronged him and destroyed his home, and those that in his mind wronged nature itself. So
So
that's
does
kind
he
of
have any like clues or breadcrumbs, a trail to follow, anything he can recall that would, maybe give him a starting point? Or
well, he knows that there are sort of more seedy human settlements kind of to the south, not terribly far away. So his first suspicions are that there may be, some origins there for where some of these mercenaries came from. He did find or see at least, the angry banner that they were rallied underneath, even though he obviously didn't recognize what it could possibly mean. So there may be bits and clues sort of in his memory, but he doesn't really know what any of it means, or not really having a lot of experience outside of the Grove. He doesn't really kind of know, the intricacies of all the different, groups and
I
things that are
do.
going on outside the. Indeed, indeed you do.
I've actually given this a lot of thought since you pitched it to me.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, so he's probably got bits and pieces in his memory that could be sparked by something he sees on his journey, but he's it's just a lot of uncertainty and then sort of this unknown horror that's kind of just upturned his entire life, and so he's set out, just kind of looking for anything that can point him in the right direction, and that's kind of where he is currently.
Does he feel kind of guilty that his parents died while he was out frolicking among wildflowers?
Possibly. I don't know exactly. I mean, he was pretty close by when the attack happened because he did witness the
He
attack.
probably gave them directions. They were like, "Hey, we're
I don't think he gave them directions.
Well, there's a
Down the road
there's a
here.
great grove about 200 yards that way.
Right.
Where we can find any honey and pillage some villages.
And then after this,
come
we were
on
maybe
in.
looking for some hotties. Where we can find some hotties.
Honey and hotties. That's what I'm for.
Honey and hotties. That's actually like the name of a business model I was looking to
Little
launch
tavern
later in
there.
life.
Yeah.
Honey and
I like
hotties.
it.
Yeah. They say you
Love it.
catch more hotties with honey than
That's-
flies
That's what they
with
say.
That's true.
vinegar.
And not
You
And
nailed it. You nailed
that's-
it.
Perfect.
Everyone says that.
Everyone. That's what all the people are saying.
Cool. Any other questions for Celvor?
What's your morality? Where's your moral
Yes.
compass
So
lie?
his alignment is true neutral. The way that he
Ooh.
sees life and sees
So-
things is that nature is sort of the highest power, and that the natural balance of nature is sort of what he reveres and respects and aspires
Okay.
to maintain.
Yeah.
So sort of the natural balance of all things makes him
Okay.
kind of aligned to the
You're
the true
like
neutral.
Thanos. You're like perfectly balanced. As all things should be.
What are his triggers?
Ooh.
His triggers are
When people step on like bees. If I squashed a bumblebee in front of him, would he like try to kill me or to
that would probably make him very upset. Yes, he
Well,
does have a
tell
particular
me that-
affinity for bees. So
Don't tell me that because my character just might,
We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't.
Literally just to test the water.
Stephanie, I want you to know this. There are characters and encounters that I have carefully thought through because I have thought to myself, what if Steph just does this out of impulse just to see what would happen? Like I literally I have something that's I think this would end up being like campaign 2.5, like a transition between 2 and 3. I have a full encounter that I have planned out where I have safeguards in play because I'm like, what if Steph just decides to bring ruin on the whole continent with one impulsive decision?
The hard part is you have known me for like almost 20 years, so it's hard to be truly spontaneous with you. So I feel like you can probably predict some of what I'm going to do.
Yeah. You still surprise me.
It's good to know.
You still surprise me.
Well, I try.
I didn't see the birthday spankings coming this year.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Really? Edit that out too. Jeez.
Oh no, that's staying. Chris.
Oh gosh.
You're up. Tell us about your character.
Gather around, children.
I'm trying. I am. I'm here.
Oh, you're already gathered. Great.
I'm gathered.
That's convenient.
I'm going to tell you the story of Karl the Barbarian.
Karl.
Karl grew up with only vague, hazy memories, stone walls, and familiar warmth of a typical dwarf's life. As an infant, he was discovered in a plundered wagon on the side of a deserted road by a group of kind-hearted travelers, a band of merchants who had been passing through when they stumbled upon the aftermath of violence brought by merciless marauders. Swaddled in tattered blankets amidst broken, burning crates and scattered supplies, Karl's only companions were ghosts of his lost parents whose lives ended that fateful day.
Oh my gosh. Ryan, I'm sorry. Can you edit in like a tiny violin? This is sad. This is tragic. We need sad violin music. Keep going.
The tales told around crackling campfires became his cradle songs, but instead of lullabies about clan honor or epic quests, he listened to stories tinged with honor and survival. Raised by these good Samaritans, who almost jokingly dubbed him with the surname Stonebeard, for the grit he seemed to embody despite his youth. As soon as he was able, his first job in the group was to tend to the lumbering animals that pulled the heavy carts across the countryside, giving him an uncanny ability to handle animals, wild or domestic. Also, though far removed from dwarven customs, Karl honed his incredible skill as a fighter, practicing at night under moonlit skies with others preparing to defend themselves against roving threats. Tapping into the rage that burns deep within him from the loss of his family, he would unleash an unbridled strength when called to defend friends, loved ones, and the vulnerable people who could not stand up for themselves. As the years passed, whispers and rumors about noble dwarf clans searching for their lost kin echoed in taverns filled with wayfaring adventurers. A new purpose beat in his heart, to make a name for himself, to hopefully one day return to Yunderhold as a hero and earn a seat at the table among his people. While these new hopes cling to his heart, an unquenchable thirst had always simmered within him, the need to uncover not just the fate of his family, but also find belonging forged from blood ties shrouded in mystery. With dreams fueled by ideas that deeper power lurked behind those darkened memories, etched into childhood fears, Karl donned battered leather armor gifted to him from his adopted family, determined to trace the cold, faint trails that haunted him since that terrible day long ago. His journey would lead him to try to join the Adventurers Guild, yearning for gold, but ultimately wealth would just be the means to unravel a history unknown. He must prevail against whoever dares stand between him and the truth unfolding beneath rock and stone yet unturned.
Rock and stone.
Rock and stone.
Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Love it.
Oh my
I did some
goodness.
editing today to kind of.
I could tell, yeah. I was like, this isn't the same.
good.
Like so captured. I'm like, oh, I'm listening to a story. Let me cuddle in. Like,
Let me get my
was
blanket, my
great.
snuggie. I think my snuggie.
I am cheering for Karl already. Like he's the hero we need.
Oh yeah.
So like, I like that you're talking about like trying to earn a spot in Yunderhold, return to Yunderhold a hero, because in the lore video that I posted, we talk a lot about Yunderhold and dwarven culture, and a lot of it is like the dwarves are a people that's all about contribution, like individual contribution to the greater whole, right? And so the Yunderhold culture is broken, their whole society is broken down into specific guilds where you contribute to Yunderhold's greatness in some specific capacity, and your guild becomes your family, and you serve, and that's your value is your contribution. And they have like a creed, which we'll get into later, that they all chant. And so Karl, your character would be what they call Fjodorlaus, which sort of translates loosely to fatherless. But you are without a guild. You don't have a specific job in Yunderhold. You're not contributing to the whole because you were orphaned. You were raised by outsiders. And so that's sort of like a mark of shame in dwarven culture. If you don't get accepted into a guild and you're not contributing to the whole, then you're basically considered chaff, waste, refuse. So Fjodorlaus dwarves are usually like the people that clean up the latrines in the city, and take out the trash. Otherwise, they just leave because they're so poorly treated. So it would be interesting to see how your story unfolds, how you might reclaim your honor, and if we ever end up in Yunderhold, what's your reception going to be like?
Dang, that's disappointing that they treat him like that. Justice for dwarves.
Yeah,
Right.
well, they're very proud culture. They're very selfless. They think that every individual, like I said, your value is what you bring to the table, right? Everyone's working together. Everyone's pulling their weight to make Yunderhold and the surrounding areas function properly, and it's why Yunderhold is actually, we'll get into this obviously more, but in Pananthro at the Council of Kingdoms, there's a bit of a rivalry going on between the dwarves of Yunderhold and the high elves of Havendel. All the different people groups send representatives to serve on the council, but the dwarves have the most seats because they represent Yunderhold, they represent Dalamar, they represent the Terran Flats, they represent even... they are the only people that do trade with this mysterious group of people from Halal Dren, which is the city in the Dolvan Desert. No one's allowed, no one's permitted access there, but some of their representatives come to this small trade town called Tanis, where they trade with the Dwarves of Yunderhold. So they're like, they represent the biggest number of different culture groups, and even the Goliaths of the Belt of Gon that live in the peaks of the mountains there around Yunderhold. That all falls sort of under their jurisdiction. So they hold the most seats on the Council of Kingdoms because of their, the strength that they have forged as a people group, and they take very great pride in that. Dalamar itself is a city that's sort of home to the most of the temples and monasteries where priests are trained. It's a very fortressed city with a big wall. They handle trade from multiple different locations. So all of this stuff kind of contributes to the fact that the dwarves are like their strength. They have numbers, they have influence, they have power, and that's because everyone's pulling their weight, right? So the way that they might look at someone like Karl might be a little unfavorable, even if it's out of his control, just based on the circumstances of his birth and his being raised. He was raised outside of that, that culture of contribution, right? So we'll see how that shakes out. Any questions for Chris with Karl?
You sound like a lawful good. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, lawful good. Someone has to dispense justice.
Oh, so what are your triggers? Like, wait, whoa, okay. So is vengeance your primary motivator? Or is that
I
Cale?
wouldn't say.
Or is it more?
Sorry.
Yeah, like what? Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
say vengeance is my primary motivator necessarily, because I have no idea who did this to my family. My primary motivation is to get back to Yunderhold with honor, and basically finding out who my family was, returning to Yunderhold as a hero, and kind of rejoining, I guess, the ranks. Because currently,
like maybe to like restore the even the honor of your family and.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it could be returning the honor of my family, or just returning my own honor, because I've been denied this. This like heritage, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
I will say triggers anybody who does any kind of banditry, maraudery, anything like that. As soon as I catch a whiff of that, just based on everything that was taken from Karl, he's going to lose it, and you're going to be standing between him and his rage. We'll just say.
So you have a little bit of common ground there with Celvor.
Correct. We do have some broken, some what does they call it? Trauma, some shared trauma.
A little shared trauma, yeah.
Well, Thera just likes a fight, so.
So then let's tee up where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at, you guys have the map of Alashar, correct?
Well, Cale was smart and pinned it.
So if you pull up that map of Alashar, you'll see the city of New Kingsfield, which is straight north of the capital, Pananthro, right? And it's in these kind of small... It's sort of like that whole region, by the way, if you want sort of like a visual, you're trying to visualize it, you're a visual person, think of like the Smoky Mountains, okay? That kind of terrain, right? It's not like Mount Everest or anything, but it's just these hills and mountains, but, lush valleys and things of the sort. And New Kingsfield falls right in the middle of a valley between a couple of those peaks. And very green, very pretty. And New Kingsfield itself is the center for the Society of Adventurers. So the SOA, they have their headquarters here in New Kingsfield. They have satellite campuses in all the major cities and settlements. But if you're trying to register as a new adventurer, you have to go to New Kingsfield. They have registration days instead of just open registration where you just like show up any day. They have registration days specifically where you come into the city as new adventurers, register, form parties, get some of your first jobs, get your feet off the ground. This happens to be one such day. So we've got Thera, who's coming straight south from Havendell. She's come through the Sundering Slopes. She's now in New Kingsfield and looking to register as an adventurer. You've got Karl. Karl, where specifically is Karl coming from? Do we know?
That's my direct route is from Pananthro, but yeah, we could go with on the outskirts of Edelvos. That's when I decided to kind of break off and forge my own path.
Sure.
So.
Cool.
I think it's pronounced Edelweiss, but
Edelweiss.
There it is. There it is.
And then, of course, we've got Celvor coming from the Arbellum Forest, probably straight through Edelvos, Pananthro, up to New Kingsfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, he left the forest, kind of on his own, not really having a whole lot of experience in the outside world, and he's a fairly smart kid, even though he doesn't really, well, not kid, but you know what I mean. Even though he doesn't really know the outside world all that well, he wouldn't be so brash to try to take on any of the bandit groups or the more, notorious folks down to the south on his own. So I think he's probably heading towards the capital, to try to find some other people that can maybe give him information or can kind of people that he can maybe group up with to try.
And there's
to figure out
flyers everywhere about registration day in New Kingsfield, straight north.
And gosh darn it, he was tired of frolicking.
And he frolicked his way straight north.
All the way.
His frolicking was taken from him.
He frolics no more. I can't frolic anymore. They took it from me.
Oh my gosh.
So you're all in New Kingsfield for registration day at the headquarters for the Society of Adventurers, the SOA. So here, let me pitch to you a scenario, okay? And I'll let you guys do a little bit of role play, but let me set it up for you, and we'll see how your party is formed. So what happens is you all show up here at the headquarters of the SOA. It's a mass registration. You're filling out your paperwork. It's almost like you're filling out a character sheet, sort of, for the Adventure Society. And they're going to take that information, they're going to post it on like a big wall of all the new registrars. And so once you filled out your information, they're going to have scribes make a copy of it. One copy stays with them. One copy goes up on the wall. And now there's just a wall of papers. And each paper is an individual that's a new new adventure. Now, you might have some seasoned parties of adventurers who are there looking for new recruits to add to their ranks, but most of these new adventurers are probably going to be looking at this wall, trying to form their own new party to start out fresh, right? All of them are green. All of them have no experience. So here you are. You've just registered. All of you have filled out your paperwork. There's now a wall of registrars in front of you that you can pick through and maybe try and figure out okay, well, we need somebody who's got some brute force. We need somebody that you want a well-balanced party. Maybe we need a healer. We need a support person, stuff like that. But you have a full day, and in 24 hours, the day after registration day, they will post sort of entry-level jobs. There's only so many to go around. So your goal in the next 24 hours is to kind of familiarize yourself with who your options are, strike up some conversations, maybe form a party so that the following day you can come back to the same wall where new jobs are going to be posted and you can hit the ground running, get some experience, get paid, and start your work as an adventurer. So here you are. It's still registration day. It's maybe a little bit later in the day. You've already filled out your paperwork. All the other registrars are up on the wall. You've kind of perused over it. None of you really feeling like definitively, oh, I know what to do. I know where to go. I know who to talk to. So you kind of meander over to the tavern that's then connected to the SOA headquarters, where a lot of other new adventurers, just like yourselves, seasoned adventurers as well, all kind of gather, eat meals, break bread, shoot the crap with each other. And so you're in this, it's a big tavern because it has to host so many people so regularly. And New Kingsfield is kind of a bit of a tourist destination anyway, so it does get a lot of attention and a lot of traffic. So, big tavern. You're all in here now, okay? And let me pitch to you now these scenarios specifically within the tavern, okay? So the three of you are scattered around the tavern, different places. You haven't met, haven't talked, right? So imagine Karl. He's sitting at the actual bar, okay? He's on a stool, sitting at the bar.
I can see him in my mind's eye.
What's he eating?
Handsome devil.
Chris, what does Karl order?
Oh, he's like a straight up like
meat and ale.
It's like a lamb,
like,
a leg of lamb.
Yes, definitely.
Is what I'm seeing in my head.
Slab of
A
meat.
chunk of meat with a bone inside of it, and
Yeah.
a solid foamy ale.
So imagine
out of like a, what do they call those giant cups?
A stein.
A stein.
Tankard.
Or a tankard. Yeah.
I'm thinking more tankard.
Sure. So let's say you're sitting there at the bar, a sippy cup. You're sitting there at the bar. Some guy goes frolicking past you in the background. You pay him no mind.
See him like saying something about talent. I don't know.
Cale's like, dang it, he doesn't frolic anymore. I told you this. So you're sitting there at the bar and just trying to enjoy your meal and your ale. And the three other dwarves start walking up to you. They are clearly drunk. They've been there a while. They've had a few rounds. They're kind of stumbling a little bit, not so deft on their feet. One of them is going to reach out. They kind of huddle around you. One of them's going to lean on the bar to kind of hold himself up. And he reaches out. He grabs your mug of ale, and he just chugs it right in front of you. One of them is going to just kind of, not like aggressively or in a mean way, but he's just going to like put his hand under your beard and just kind of like lift it up a little bit. He's looking at it, right? You know what he might be looking for? What's he looking at? What's he trying to figure out?
Lice. Maybe like an emblem, like on a necklace or something.
Yeah. So he's looking for a guild crest.
Yeah.
He's looking for a guild crest specifically. The dwarves, the dwarven people, like I said, it's all about your contribution. And your contribution is reflected in your beard as a dwarf. So whatever
like the little metal beading.
Yeah, so whatever guild you join has their own crest. And it's represented in like jewels and sort of metal trinkets that they braid into their beards to show off. Like this is your this is who you are. This is your identity. You want to show it off, like who you work for, what guild you work for, specifically what accolades you have. That's all sewn into your beard as a dwarf. So they're looking at your beard where there is no guild crest. There are no accolades, right? So that's what this one is now looking for.
Do the women have beards too?
So not exactly.
Disappointing.
No, so they do have very long hair, and specifically they do have braids that come down the front. They drape over the chest, and that's where they're going to sew in their accolades.
It's just
their
a bummer.
guild crest.
Go full sun, Ryan. Come on.
I need him to be a little bit, hot per Chris's standards. I know what he's into, so.
I don't think he's bothered by a bearded woman. I know what Chris is into.
Tentacles didn't bother me. So.
He's like, as long as those thighs are big and juicy, he's in, baby.
It's all for those thunder thighs.
So one of them chugs your ale right in front of you. One of them's got his hand. He's looking at your beard. He's inspecting it. The third one speaks up. This is what he says. Look what we got here, boys. a stray Fjodorlaus that managed to wiggle his way out of the gutters. So they all kind of chuckle together. One of them's going to pipe in, "Don't worry, little stray. I'm about to take a piss real soon. You can clean it up for us. You'll feel right at home." The last one's going to pipe in now, too. He says, "Come on, boys, let's leave the poor wretch alone. Looks like he just registered as an adventurer. Hopefully he can pick himself up off his ass." And with that, he's going to kick one of the legs of the stool you're sitting on. It's going to collapse underneath you and send Karl, sending Karl to the floor. And they're all just laughing around you. The one that chugged your beer is going to spit on you. And they turn to stumble on out the door. What do you do?
So I think while the guy is grabbing onto my beard, I'm going to be a little embarrassed. I know what he's looking for. I'm going to be a little embarrassed. I'm going to try to push his hand away while he's doing that.
Okay.
Just to kind of, I probably wouldn't make any like aggressive moves while he's drinking my beer. I don't really want to start anything necessarily. Sure. So now, okay, so they kicked me over. I'm on the floor. They're walking away. I get to this point, like, I kind of like just kind of brush it off, and I kind of see them as something I'm not, and therefore I'm, in a way, kind of beneath them. I have no name. I have nothing to myself. I think I just probably pick myself up, dust myself off, and yeah, just kind of like let it slide. I mean, my heart would be beating and my rage would be burning, but I don't know if I have it in me right now to start something in this.
So, Celvor, you are at a table sitting directly behind Karl. So his back, as he's sitting to the bar, would be pointing to you. You're going to witness all of this. He's now on his ass on the bar floor, no beer, spat on, and these guys are stumbling right past you. Are you going to retaliate in any capacity?
I think at this point, like, I would have been watching this from across the room, kind of sitting off in the back, sort of by the wall.
Oh, kind of like Aragorn. Okay, keep
Kind of
going.
like Aragorn, yeah. Yeah, picture Strider and the Prancing Pony.
Exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yep. So I'm going to be, back by the wall, but I see this happen. Like, his hearing is pretty good. He's going to be, picking up most of what's going on in the room. And he definitely sees these guys stumble over, thinking that, these are all dwarves. Maybe they know each other. And I don't know what's going on, but I notice that this is going down, and then they knock into the ground and stumble away. Like, I'm a little bit annoyed by this, but also, like, I don't have a lot of experience with other races, and so I don't know if this is normal. I don't know if this is like a cultural thing. Like, I don't really know what's going on. So at this point, I'm just mostly trying to observe, and I'm staying my hand. I watch them sort of stumble out the door, sort of taking this in, kind of trying to digest what's going on. Because obviously they were being extremely rude, but like, they didn't like attack him, I guess, you know what I mean? So, like, the way I see it, I don't know.
Ain't my business.
Kind of like, it's not really my concern. I'm just trying to, like, keep my head down, sort of thing.
So, Thera, you've just had yourself a long journey. Like, you didn't get in last night. You got into town this morning.
Okay.
You had to head out early in order to get to town in time. You're kind of tired. You're hungry. But more than anything, you're freaking thirsty. And you just got a glass of your favorite brandy. You're looking down at this like you're pretty excited about it. And you're walking back to the table that you're sitting at with some strangers. You're walking back with your glass, and you did witness what was happening, but I mean, it was kind of on the side. It's not like you're really worked up about it or anything. But you saw what happened. And now, as you're walking back, they are stumbling. They just stumbled past Celvor, and one of them is so drunk that he trips on his own feet and just plows right into you. Your brandy spills everywhere. It's all down the front of you, so you're soaked. And he looks up at you because he's a dwarf, and he's like, "Watch where you're going, stupid elf."
Are you asking me what I do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna cast Shocking Grasp on him. I'm so pissed at this point. I literally will kill him over this. So I cast Shocking Grasp, which...
Let me get my dice!
which says lightning springs from you to a creature that you try to touch. Make a melee spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 damage, and it can't make opportunity attacks until the start of its next turn. As I'm casting Shocking Grasp, because I have to grab him, I grab him, pull him up to my face, and tell him that I will make him soil himself and then mop it up with his own body.
Oh, I love it.
We're not going to do like proper combat, but I do want you to roll a d8 for me.
A d8? Hold on, I gotta
and
get
just
into
tell me what happens.
I gotta figure out which one's an 8. Hold on.
It's the dice that's going to have 8 sides to it.
Thank you. That's super helpful. Hold on. I have 2 sets of dice now.
So it's going to be shaped. It's going to be shaped like a diamond.
I'm going to be one of those people who starts. Oh, I found it.
It's going to
start collecting like really cool dice. I got a 3.
Okay. So you say your line, and then you can see this arcane electricity is going to course through this guy, and you can even like see it in his teeth. Like think about like Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. When he's lifting Palpatine up over his head, and you can see it in his teeth. Like that's what you're seeing out of this dude, and you're kind of like. It's kind of freaky a little bit. Like you're kind of liking as you're looking into this guy's eyes, and you're seeing the electricity sort of coursing through him. Mm-hmm. He's not dead, but after you let him go, and he kind of just falls straight to his knees, and without missing a beat, one of the other ones is just gonna straight up deck you in the face. Like you weren't even prepared for it.
Can he reach that high? I'm sorry.
Excuse me. A dwarf can punch up.
Okay, he's gonna deck me in the face.
And
do I get a saving throw or something?
I should roll a throw. I rolled a 4. This is just an unarmed strike. Yeah. And he's gonna deck you cold. You feel the weight of this. Like he's drunk. Like this guy's not holding anything back, right? He's just gonna lay a solid fist into your chin, and you feel the full weight of this dwarven punch land straight to your face, right?
Oh, now I'm really. You pissed me off.
So one of them's down on the floor on his knees. He ain't dead, but he's been zapped. Another one just decked you in the face. The third looks like he is about ready to strike. In fact, this one's so drunk, like he's not really like, weighing risk, reward, consequences, things like that. He's not thinking about how severe is this? Is this just a bar fight? Like, he's kind of too drunk to know or care or know any better. So he's already reaching for his dagger. And he is this one in particular is standing right beside Celvor's chair. Okay.
And I reach out and try to grapple him, grab his hand and stop him from drawing it.
So
presumably I see all this that's going down, and I see this guy in front of me more or less like reaching for a weapon. Like I just want to kind of like grab his wrist and just like.
Let's say you're going to try to grapple him. You got a D20 on hand?
I do.
So we're gonna do. This is a grapple check. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll an athletics check against his strength. Sound good?
Okay. Sure.
So go ahead and roll for me a D20 and add whatever your athletics modifier is.
That's an 8 + 2. That's 10.
Okay. He's going to actually roll a 9. So you succeed. So you reach out, you grab his hand. He's not able to get to his knife at all. In fact, he's so drunk, he can't even like break free of your grasp right now. Now, let me ask you, Chris. Karl's been kicked onto the floor. He's been spat on. His ale's been drunk. And you see these guys deck this woman. And one of them is reaching for a knife. Are you going to retaliate in any way? Or is this still not your business?
No, this is too far. She did nothing wrong. I was watching them kind of as they were walking away.
I've done nothing wrong ever in my life.
I know this. I'm gonna start hearing the veins, the blood vessels in my head start to like beat like a drum. I'm gonna grab the stool I was on.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to walk over and crack the one pulling the knife, or at least attempting to pull the knife. Well, yeah, we'll go with that one. No, actually, no. I'm gonna be pissed off mostly at the guy who slugged her. So I'm gonna walk over with the stool in each hand, reach it up over my head as high as it can go, and then crack them in the head as hard as I possibly can
Love it.
with the stool.
So do me a favor. First, for your hit, I want you to roll a d20 and then add your strength modifier to it. Against his...
the modifier, okay.
Yeah, your strength modifier against his armor class.
So I rolled an 11 plus 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, since it's an improvised weapon, and I'm going to assume that since you're level 1, you don't have like feats to increase this. Go ahead and just roll a d4 for me.
I rolled a 3.
Oh, yeah, you got to get a good little conk in there. The chair's going to shatter over this guy's back and head, and splinters of wood are just going to go flying. At this point, Steph, what do you think your reaction is going to be? You shock this dude, you got decked in the face, and immediately one guy grabs another guy's arm and grapples him so he can't retaliate, and another one beats the guy that slugged you over the head with a chair. What's your response to this?
I'm gonna firebolt the guy that punched me in the face. I'm pissed, and no one punches me in the face.
This guy is... Let me ask you real quick. Are you comfortable with murder?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Murder's fine.
So you... So I see...
Should I not be comfortable with it?
So, no, I think it's funny.
Fire starts to swell up in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At this point, there's just going to be a flash of movement, right? Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, this woman in full plate armor, okay? She doesn't have a helmet on, just full plate armor. All of her hair is pulled back into a ponytail that's going to hang down all the way down to like the middle of her back.
Yep.
And she's in the middle of everything. She has one hand is on your wrist. It's not violent. It's just there just to keep you from raising it. Another hand is going to be on the hair on the back of the head of the guy that decked you. So she's lifting a little bit because he's kind of drunk. He's not steady on his feet. So there's tension and he's feeling it. Okay. And her shoulders are squared up so that the other two are now obscured from you and from Celvor's position. Right.
Okay.
So
mystery chick. I love this.
She's basically going to try to diffuse things here. And she's going to say, listen, I think it's about time you gentlemen leave. But the one guy that she has by the hair, she's going to lift him up by the hair, this dwarf by the hair on the back of his head, and literally throw him out the door.
Oh.
And she's going to look at the other two, and they kind of look at her. They look at her countenance, right? The expression on her face. They look down at her hip where there is a mace, like a big mace, like a morning star, spikes on it and everything. And they're going to peace out. Like they just, as quickly as they can, stumble their way through the door out onto the street to join their friend that got thrown. Okay. So she's going to then, at that point, she's going to look at you, and then she's going to look back at the bartender, the barkeep, and she's just going to nod and say, "Can we get a refill on this lady's brandy, please?" Okay.
Turns out this is how you get my allegiance, by the way. I'm in love with this woman. I will follow her to her death. She's amazing. Although I did want to kill that guy. I'm disappointed.
And she could tell. She could tell. She was not, planning to get involved unless necessary. Okay. So she's basically just going to give a quick little apology and give you well wishes. Hands off your fresh brandy to you and kind of nods to the three of you like, I hope this situation is now resolved. And she's going to sit back down at the table she was sitting at, which is similarly occupied by other people who look pretty well equipped, right? There's a mage that's wearing like some pretty ornate robes, has a staff that has there's an actual gemstone sort of set into it that looks elven made. You're going to have a rogue clearly with some pretty ornate elven crafted daggers and elaborate, leather armor. It looks like a full party of some pretty high ranking adventurers, right? Just trying to enjoy their time. But she's gone back to her party at this point. So here the three of you are standing together. Karl still has literally just one leg of a chair in his hand.
Awesome.
Celvor's at this point still seated, but his whole body's kind of turned to be sort of part of the because he had reached out to grapple that one guy. And there's Thera that is standing next to Karl.
But I think I still, like, just because I'm so heated, I still have fire in my hand. Like, it hasn't dimmed yet. It's just kind of sitting there. Like, I have unspent rage, but I'm also kind of like, what was that? Who was that? Oh my gosh! And so
was it fun?
It will.
Yeah, was that fun for Thera? Do you think she's like at least a little bit sort of like kind of into that?
Yeah, 100%. She thrives on that kind of stuff. So yeah, that she's looking for excitement, right? Like she came from a very, to her, boring society. So a little bit of excitement. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. And I mean, but she's also like, wow, this chick kind of stood up to me and I was ready to just straight up murder that guy. So she's kind of gained a little bit of respect there. Like, okay, power to you. All right. But I also saw that rage, at first I was kind of disappointed that Karl didn't do anything. He didn't stand up for himself.
Mm-hmm.
But then I did see the rage come out. So I'm like, you know what? You're not too bad.
Found a backbone there.
We can work on you. We can work on you, Karl.
It's like, well, I was thinking like,
I don't know your name, but
Coral.
My name's Steph.
Like, I would maybe like go check to see if Steph's okay. I mean, she did take a pretty heavy hit to the face. But
yeah.
I'm feeling like she would probably turn around, fire in her eyes, like, still ready to mess somebody up.
How many hit points do you have at level 1, Steph?
8.
Yeah, you're half HP.
Oh, okay.
Squishy.
I'm squishy.
Theoretically.
Sort of seeing this happen, and being a little bit like wow, like she this lady here got decked in the face and just took it on the chin and then pulled out of like this massive fireball. Well, not fireball, but like fire in her hand. That's like all like this is all new to me, but I'm kind of like a little bit in awe of
turned
just
on.
Sort of silently sitting at the table.
You're kind of turned on, aren't you?
Definitely.
So, but it moved a little.
Oh my gosh.
Sort of, being sort of a part of what just happened, and then being a little bit inspired by Thera, and also, seeing Karl. I obviously don't know their names at this point, but seeing him kind of come over and stand up for this lady and kind of stand up for himself. Also having lost his beverage, I think I'd like to, as he's over checking to make sure he's okay, I'd like to just sort of call over to them and ask if I could buy Karl another ale to replace someone he lost, and see if this mystery elf who seems kind of imposing would also like to maybe come join me at the table. I
quickly down my brandy and I'm like, you know what, I could use another brandy. You mind getting
if you're offering.
Yeah, I'll nod and gesture towards the open chairs at the table.
I'd like to remind you, Cale, that I have the power, the cantrip to message, where I can just whisper things and only you can hear it. So,
that's a good one.
I might be like, meet me later.
So in theory, let's say you guys all sit down at the table that Celvor was at. Let's say you're all there, kind of just sort of like catching up, like what sort of summarizing what just happened. Is everyone cool? Is everyone all right? Maybe give some brief introductions. And while you're doing that, you got yourself a fresh round of drinks. There's one more empty seat at the table, and a guy kind of slides into it. Okay, this dude's he's got like let's call it a somewhat flamboyant shirt on. He's a little bit heavier, human male, big curly mustache. His hair clearly it's not like he just woke up looking like that. He's put some product in it. It's kind of slicked back a little bit.
Karl, simmer down.
So, and he's like, well, that was exciting, wasn't it? You seem like a fairly capable lot. Let me ask you, are you planning on maybe starting a party?
Sure. I mean, that's what I came for.
We haven't really gotten that far, but I suppose I'd certainly be open to the idea.
I have a proposition for you. What if, just theoretically, I were a merchant. By the way, my name is Melovere. And let's say I had some shipments recently that didn't make it to my warehouse, and I have concerns that I think they might be getting hijacked. And I would be willing to pay a small sum of gold for some budding adventurers like yourselves to maybe look into the matter for me. And if you are successful, I may or may not have an opportunity for a capable party that might prove themselves worthy of it. Any interest there?
How small of a fee are we talking? I mean,
Oh, well, you're
you
brand
just
new
you were able.
adventurers.
Yeah, but you just saw our skill, raw talent
I
coming through.
did see a rather large woman step in to save your asses. You are right. Maybe I should talk to her
A
next.
rather large woman. I think I would have killed that guy, and it would have been over in a heartbeat. So, maybe you have the wrong group, but
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But consider this. If you're looking for some easy cash, and you don't want to fight the other fresh registrars who are going to be elbowing each other out of the way at the wall tomorrow looking for new jobs, and maybe you come on over to my table, talk about it. And I would pay you, 75 gold a head, 75 gold a piece to just look into this small matter for me. And if you do, thousands more gold might be on the table afterwards. Talk about it. See what you think. Talk to me afterwards. I think you seem to have a taste for violence. I do suspect there could be some banditry involved. Some bandits might be hijacking my shipments, but
Bandits,
Bandits, you say? Yeah, I'm gonna perk up at this as well because I'm looking for information on
Yes.
bandit groups and things of the sort.
no catch. You ask around. I'm a well-known merchant around these parts. But yeah, I'm gonna go sit down at my table and finish my drink. When I get to the bottom of my drink, I'll be leaving the tavern. But if you come talk to me before then, maybe we can do business. He's gonna walk away, sit back down, start working on his drink a couple of tables over.
that guy was weird. Like, I don't
Indeed.
trust that guy as far as I can throw him. And I could probably throw him pretty far.
Sounds like you may have information on some of the local bandit groups. I'd be curious to find out more.
I would, anything that gets, bandit blood on my shoes is anything, something I'm definitely interested in.
I'm up for killing people. I don't care who it is. So,
How would you
but
convince? How would you
I would like
convince?
to.
What would you pitch to Thera if you were trying to get her on board? You just saw her conjure some
Yeah.
magic. You think she's capable of some violence, and you saw that she was kind of into it.
Well, it certainly sounds like there may be danger involved. Danger that someone like
I
yourself
would
might be
maybe,
well equipped to handle.
kind of like jokingly taunt her, be like, it's probably, you get your hands too dirty. You probably couldn't handle it, something like that.
Too dirty because I'm an elf, a high elf.
No,
Is that
because you're obviously like royalty.
okay? Well, I've been
Fair.
I've been, first of all, yes, fair, but do not mistake that for weakness.
Well, prove it.
Okay, fine. I can prove that. I've been trained by some of the best magic wielders in Havendell, so I don't have a problem with this. I can kill bandits easily. I don't even need you guys. I could do it on my own, blindfolded, with my hands tied behind my back. I got this.
Don't you need your hands to cast your spells?
Maybe.
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 That's besides the point.
hmm
I could do it with one hand behind my back.
Technically, you just need one hand. Yeah.
Yeah, see? Put that on a t-shirt. Technically, you just need the one hand.
Celvor doesn't know how this is all working,
Them.
so
Most spells, not all, most spells have a somatic component where there has to be a hand gesture involved.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, kind of fun. There's actually a video on YouTube where they do a full-blown interview with the lady who was the choreographer for all the spell casting in the game Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
Baldur's Gate 3. And very cool because she goes through she and the producers and whatnot had to go through all of the somatic gestures for how not just for each spell, but how how would a warlock cast this spell? How would a wizard cast this spell? How would a sorcerer cast this spell? You know what I mean? And so it was actually a really interesting video because it kind of lets you in on that whole somatic component to spellcasting, which I think is kind of interesting. So,
Really cool. Yeah.
all this to say, yes, technically you just need one free hand to do the somatic component of a spell.
I still think we should put it on a t-shirt. Technically, you just need one hand.
And an open mouth.
Oh,
There's a verbal
my.
component too. But
Say
I do
more.
think that people would probably, you might get kicked out of a Wendy's if you had a shirt on that said, technically I just need one free hand and an open mouth.
I don't
Talk about
know.
Wendy's.
Wendy's is not a high class place.
Okay,
I don't think they'd even
Applebee's.
care.
You might get kicked out of an Applebee's.
All right. Fair enough. We are going way off the rails here. But I think
Cut.
Chris sorry.
Cut.
I think Karl going along the lines of taunting her like as a challenge is exactly how you get to, if you can't get her allegiance, to challenge her as like, oh, you're weak and
Yeah,
this
give her a
is
challenge, yeah.
you know, you too dirty for you is like definitely going to put her up to the task.
Understand a little bit. Yeah.
So
yeah.
our session 0 here, unedited now, is going on. We're over an hour and 20 minutes at this point. So let me do a little quick fast forward here, if you don't mind. So let's assume you guys have your powwow. You challenge Thera. She's on board. The three of you saunter over to the table where Melovere is seated, have a discussion with him. He hires you. You take the job. In the following days, you do a sort of stakeout where basically you're going to conceal yourselves on, in his in one of his wagons in the caravan. And midway, some bandits are going to try and hijack the shipment so that they can fence the goods. And you guys are going to kind of ambush them. You're going to jump out, be a counter ambush. Let's say you work pretty well together. You came up with a loose plan. There was some electrocution and some fireballs. There was some stabbing and some shooting of the bows. And are you a great axe or a hand blunt?
Great axe, yes.
Let's say a great axe was swung a few times. There's some blood and gore, and you guys get paid. Not only that, but you're able to track down where they were storing the goods that had been stolen, so you actually get a bonus on top of your promised pay because of the recovery of the goods they had not yet fenced. And at this point, Melovere is going to let you in on another job. And he's going to tell you, my friends, let's say you're sitting down to dinner together as a celebration for a job well done. He's providing. You guys are diving into your favorite. And there's a lot of great cuisine, by the way, in New Kingsfield, because it is a bit of a tourist destination. This is the place where the Alashar and games take place. Think of maybe like the Roman Colosseum. So there's big events that are hosted here. And so he's providing a meal for you guys. You're enjoying your favorite foods. And this is where he pitches this to you. My friends, in celebration of a job well done, I think that you have proven yourselves more capable than I even thought you were, which I am a pretty good judge of character nonetheless. So to exceed my expectations, well, it's a pretty impressive feat in and of itself. I have a friend, a dear friend of mine, and I think you might be of some service to him. Okay? His name is Baron Monzumer. Liren, he's a pretty influential person. But the problem is, he lives in the city of Calavos. You may know. Oh, yes, Calavos. Calavos. As you can imagine, it is a bit of a challenge to get adventurers to travel all the way to Calavos these days, especially high-ranking ones would never take a job there. They'd lose so much money just on the trip alone. No one goes out to Calavos anymore. But I happen to be one of the merchants that does help with the distribution of the lapis drink that they make there in Calavos. So I do have a direct relationship with Baron Monzumer, and he has a bit of a problem. He's looking for adventurers, and he told me to keep an eye out for a capable party that he could maybe bankroll their trip out here, and they could be of some service to him. Before you say yes or no, just hear me out. He's a very rich man. I don't know if you know much about the city of Calavos and the barons there, but he happens to run a pretty sizable estate. He's a very influential man in the production of lapis. And, well, he's a bit sympathetic to the common folk of the city, far more so than his colleagues are. But he can't directly help them, which is why he is interested in maybe outsourcing this job. But what he does do is he does sponsor the local orphanage. Common folks, many of them, the plague that rolled through Calavos in recent years, a pretty tragic thing. Left a lot of children without parents, and orphanage takes them in. He funds it, but he's a bit worried these days. Apparently, some of the children have gone missing. Not like the normal missing or they run away, but the children that were happy there. He suspects maybe more at play. He thinks maybe they're being abducted. I don't know, but he asked me to keep an eye out for some adventurers who might take the case for him. So if you choose to take this job, I mean, you could go back to making 100 gold for a job well done for the postings at your level at the SOA headquarters, or you could take this job and make several thousand. He's offering to give you lodging, give you food, and give you access to the upper city, which no commoners get such an honor. But essentially, your job would be to find out what's going on and if there's anything nefarious, if these children are being kidnapped. But that's the job. If you're interested, I'd be happy to set you up on one of my wagons that's headed there to pick up a shipment of lapis anyways. You wouldn't have to pay for the travel or for your own accommodations while you're there. What do you think?
So I was going to say, I assume at this point we've had some conversations because we work together. So I look at Karl and I'm like, I know you're in when you heard the word orphans.
Yep, definitely.
I couldn't care less about kids. When I lived in Havendale, I used to set them on fire. So they're closed. They're closed just for fun. I'd put them out. But I am interested in money. So, I mean, I don't care. We could go. Why not?
Also, your party might be feeling like this is the kind of job they would need somebody who has experience with royalty, with people of influence, right?
Hello.
You'd be working with a baron.
I'm going to seduce everyone.
On an estate.
I will seduce all of them.
More on that later.
I'm going to have the whole city in love with me. It's my goal. Maybe that, I'm chaos, so maybe my goal is just to seduce all, or both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. Yeah, why not? I could use some more money for my travels, so sure. Let's go save some kids.
So you both are
set
in?
Them on fire.
Yeah, why not?
There will be no setting the children on fire.
My best not to set the kids on fire. In fairness, I was a kid when I set them on fire, but that feels like an unfair fight, I guess. I don't know. Have you met a lot of kids, Karl? Some of them are terrible.
Do I have Baron Monsimer artwork in the Discord for you guys, or is that not posted there?
I don't know.
I think it was in the video.
I've seen a picture. Yes, he has a mustache.
He does have an excellent mustache.
He does. It's kind of dastardly.
This gentleman here is Baron Monsimer. Big shout out to Gamma Trap, our artist, who did the work for all the artwork for the characters and the city. So that there is Baron Monsimer. This here is going to be just key art. This isn't a picture of the city, by the way. This is just key art that sort of gives you the vibe of Calavos. And we've got a full lore video breaking down the city of Calavos. So if you're interested in familiarizing yourself, if you're a listener, with that space, what it's about, there's a ton of rich lore going on there. So I would encourage you to check out that video as well. But up on the upper tier here, this upper echelon, because the city sits in this basin, and there are these bigger buildings here. These are the estates. Baron Monsimer lives in one of them, and so we'll get into more about what his business is specifically and how he runs that business. But the people of the lower city and Shiptown, they're poor, and as Melovere, sort of alluded to, I mean, there's been a plague that's rolled through the town, the city, and it's claimed a lot of victims. these people don't have means. The people up top have means, and they want to keep it that way. But Baron Monsmer is the only one that has any kind of sympathy for the lower city. But if he's openly in favor of them or tries to make any changes to the current systems that would take money away from the upper city, they would probably remove him and replace him. So his hands are kind of tied there. The best he can do is just sponsor and fund the orphanage in the lower city, and that's about as far as he can get with his humanitarian efforts, which is why he's outsourcing this to you guys. And while you're there, you might meet some people like Junie here, who's going to be one of the main NPCs that we'll interact with, and we'll have a lot of fun with her. And we got some other great characters that we'll encounter. But that's where we will kick off session 1 as we head on down to Calabos.
Dun, dun, dun.
As we wrap up here for session 0, let me just kind of unpack real quickly what our goals are for this campaign. I talked a bit about the philosophy at the beginning of the session, but when it comes to the goals, I just have a few main goals. Number one, I just want to tell a compelling story, not to you guys, but with you guys, and also to our listeners. So this is going to be a cooperative thing, and the way that I've structured this first campaign, think of it kind of like an open world game. Okay, it's non-linear. There are a few different main quest lines of sorts, and the order in which you choose to tackle these things and these encounters is entirely up to you. So I'll let you guys kind of weigh what you think is most important to your party, where you would feel drawn to, what you feel most compelled to tackle first, second, third, fourth, whatever. But also know that this isn't a perfect world where there's a right choice, and when you make the right choice, everything's honky-dory. Sometimes you have to choose between a few different options, and choosing to pursue one option might be at the expense of another character, another person, another quest line. So the order that you choose is important. It will have actual ramifications within the city of Calabos. So it is non-linear. It's all up to you, but you're going to have to weigh some choices as a party, which I'm really interested to see what you guys do. So we're going to be telling this story together, and the story changes not based on what I have set up ahead of time, but based on the decisions you guys are going to make. So that'll be really fun. This will be a cooperative thing. Another goal, I'm not against you, right? As the DM, I just want to make sure that that's clear. I'm not against you. I'm facilitating the world around you and the encounter. So if I have a goblin stab you with a dagger, it's not personal.
Sleeping on the couch tonight, buddy.
That's right. Yeah, I'll warm that couch up. But anyways, so the goal is basically I'm going to be trying to let This is Emily Bronte. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a famous UK author. But one thing that she talked about that always struck me was she talked about how characters, as an author, you tee them up, but a good storyteller lets the character flesh themselves out. So when it comes to doing this campaign with you guys, a lot of times it was just going to be me asking the question, this character I made, what would they do? It's not what am I going to do with my character in this moment? It's like, knowing what I know about who they are, what would they do? They might stab you. That's not personal. It's just what they would do. I'm not against you, just trying to facilitate stuff. Another thing I want to talk about is, real quick, sometimes stuff just won't work, right? You might think in the moment, I want to try this, or I want to do this, I want to do that. And you might even roll a nat 20 and be like, I want to try and do this thing. Oh, rolled a nat 20, critical success, it must work. Sometimes it's just not going to work. I know the context or the characters, or maybe I know something that's going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Like this isn't a real thing, but let's say, for example, you're just like, I think I would probably jump through that waterfall, but I happen to know that there's a solid wall on the other side of it and that you're just going to plaster your face on it, right? That's a bad example, but I know things about the scenario, about the world, about the characters that you guys don't know. And instead of spoiling it for you, I might just tell you, by the way, that's not going to work. Maybe Steph's like, I seduced the dragon. And I'm like, the dragon's a girl. It's not gay. And it's not interested in elves anyways, so it's not
I can-
it's not gonna work.
I think Thera can turn anyone.
It'd
So
be like, I
first
rolled a
of
nat
all-
20, Ryan. It's gonna work.
First of all, how dare you? Thera is charismatic. She's got the riz. She can turn anyone. So think about that.
So if you walk in the doors of Baron Monsimer's estate, and the first thing you do is like, I pull my shirt down and seduce Baron Monsimer.
Okay,
It's
that's not... Okay, come on. She gets a read of the room at least, right? Like,
the dude, and I might just be like, the dude's happily married. This isn't a thing that's going to work, right?
I joke, but she's going to calculate it. See, I mean,
right,
she grew up in the upper courts. She
I know.
knows how
I'm
to
just
work
giving
that
examples.
stuff.
Just
Why am I always in your example? Huh?
Let's say, for example, Cale decides he's going to shoot this guy in the eyeball.
Seduce the dragon, yeah.
Cale wants to seduce a bear.
By his frolicking.
He frolics with the bees in front of the bear, thinking the bear will want to bed with him. All this... Halson. All this to say... there might be times where I'm just like, hey, by the way, that's not going to work, just because I know something about the characters or the situation that you don't know. And it's not me just trying to be a fuddy-duddy, right?
Sounds good. So
just as a warning. I don't think it'll happen much, if at all, but if it ever does happen. Another thing is exploring the idea of doing, you know what novellas are, like if an author you love has a series of books, it's really interesting. You're waiting on the next installation. In the off years, they might release a short 70-page novella of sorts that just kind of fills some gaps in the downtime. And I'm exploring the idea of doing some of that with your characters, where I might just do a one-on-one session with each of you at some point, just to be like, hey, here's a scenario that's just specifically for your character, where you're going to go off on your own and do this thing, and we might play it out real quick. I think that could be fun narrative-wise, because sometimes there's just stuff that doesn't need to have everybody there. Like, I would assume that the three of you at some point would probably like to do some of your own things anyways. Like, you're probably not going to be conjoined at the hip for the entire duration of the 3 or 4 months you might be in Calabos. So that's also a thing. Yeah. I'm also assuming... this trip to Calabos could be interesting specifically for Celvor and for Karl, because I'm assuming that you probably have never seen the curtain before. I think that Thera probably would have, living in Havendell, being so close to the shore. She probably would have at some point gone up there and at least seen the curtain. So this might be an interesting experience for you guys to sort of like to see that and react to it, see how your character might feel about seeing the curtain in all of its dismal glory.
Can I lie to him and try and make him sail out straight into it and be like, oh yeah, you can pass through. It's fine. It just tickles you. It's just a tickle.
I think basic knowledge about the curtain is probably common knowledge at this point. But you can try. So next up will be session 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, what are you guys thinking? You feeling it? You excited about it? Ready to dive in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sounds dope.
Excellent.
It's a really cool world that you've created. I'm excited to explore it.
Wonderful. I'm glad you feel that way.
But I will tell you by the end, Thera is taking that curtain down. So, and then I will come back to Havendell, and I will take down the king.
We can take this as far as you guys want it. And that's kind of the way I designed this world, is that we can go as far as you want to go. If you want to go 1 campaign and be done, we can do that. If you want to go 2, you want to go 3, you want to go 4, we can go the distance. There's a lot we can do. And the sort of overarching story that's happening, whether you're aware of it or not, you'll start to uncover some of it as we go. But like I said, you're starting at level 1, so it's not like you're saving the world on campaign 1. But yeah, there's a lot of potential there, so we can take this as far as you guys want to.
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to fleshing out my character and really giving life to her. So, because I mean, obviously, I feel like with a chaotic neutral character, people have a feeling that she's just kind of surface level. But I think there's a lot of layers, like an onion to Thera, like an ogre, if you will. Yeah, maybe she has love interests. Maybe she has a loss to love.
Well, maybe. I mean, and she's definitely entirely up to you guys. I will put plenty of NPCs in front of you. And part of that is I always ask myself, how would this NPC feel about your character, his character, her character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's definitely the option there to explore, any romantic things or even just friendships or kinships or forging strong bonds and affinities for different NPCs is certainly a part of it too. I mean, I think it's a part of any good story is really feeling connected to certain characters. But also on the flip side of that, I will also be introducing characters and NPCs that you might really freaking hate, but you might have to work with.
I can't kill them right away.
Well, the thing is, like, some of my favorite NPCs I've made wouldn't be till like campaign 2 or 3. That might even be that could be 2 years from now. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, you never know. We'll see where it goes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Viewers and listeners, thank you. So if you got to this point, I mean, you probably listened by the time we edit this down. You're over an hour in. Thank you so much for being here and for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you.
I will say, if you are interested at all in supporting the campaign that we're going to be doing, the only thing that we will be doing with the Patreon is directly funding the artist. So, basically, for every $50 that we get through the Patreon group, we'll be able to commission a new piece of art, whether it's like a portrait for an NPC or for a character, so that we can kind of bring them to life and let that be a part of the experience for you viewers on the YouTube side of things. And also, I think that it enhances our experience as players too, when we can have something to see and react to rather than just the theater of the mind, which is a challenge with some of these campaigns that you do strictly over, Discord and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, you can always feel free to visit the tip jar and drop $1, $2, whatever you feel like doing as well. And all that will go directly to our artist and commissioning new work. So thank you so much in advance to some of you who have already put some tips into that jar as well, so that we can commission some of the art we already did. And a big shout out to Gamma Trap for doing the art. He's an absolute G.
Yay.
Yes, thank you. We are excited to share this world with you all. We hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. And with that, we say be warm and well fed, my friends. We hope to catch you in session 1. Bye-bye.